Welcome, Bulldogs fans, to Week 4, Coach Adkins show. It's not the halftime show, it's the Adkins show. Coach, congratulations on last week's win at Q&D. You guys really showed up there. Give us a little summary about what you learned about your team on that away game, 3 hours, both ways, etc.
No doubt, and I think you said it best. We learned a lot about our program. We knew that we were young. We were worried about our maturity level as far as from a standpoint of the long bus trip, like you had mentioned, getting out of school early, basically just throwing off the whole rhythm and routine. But we learned that our kids can handle it, and they understand that when you strap it up and you go between the white lines, it's serious time, and it's time to focus, and it's time to get the job done. We talked all week to the kids about, this is not a field trip. This is a business trip. And, obviously it's nice that we get a charter bus, and we appreciate, everybody that had a hand in making that happen. But at the end of the day, we had a job to do, and we really found out that our kids could handle that and handled it very well. And as far as the game is concerned, I talked to the kids all week long about how we had to start, right? We had the theme of the week was get off the bus, right? We had to get off the bus and make sure that we started that game fast. Their home opener, we had to kind of set the tone, or essentially kind of limit or slow down their hypeness of their home opener. And I felt like we did. We got off the bus very well. The second thing was we battled through the adversity. Again, being on the road, and then all of a sudden look at the scoreboard and it's 14-14. There was some major adversity that we went through, and so we learned that our young kids handled that very well. Again, I think that could even go back to what happened in week 1, right? Like, as much adversity as we saw in week 1, I think that prepared us for the moment that we had there at Q&D on week 3. And then the last part was, I love the way that we finished. Again, being able to battle through that 14-14 adversity, and then just being able to finish the ball game and get that stand at the end and continue to drive the ball down and put points on the board and convert third and fourth downs. Like, that's what great teams do, is they find a way to finish and get the job done. And so when it comes down to the actual gameplay, those were the 3 takeaways that I had, that again, I was very proud of our kids and the way that they were able to get that done. But certainly we learned a lot about our team, and I was excited to learn what I learned about them.
That's awesome. So let's move to this week, starting conference play, on the road again at Charleston. They're a tough team. They're 3-0, first in the Apollo, I believe, if memory serves, averaging 42 points a game, high-scoring team. What was the message to the team this week in preparing for a Charleston team?
Yeah, I flat out told them and challenged them. I said, not only is this the beginning of conference play, but again, we got to do it on the road. And this is step 1 of our building blocks to try to get back to our ultimate pyramid of success. And the top of that is going to be conference champs. That's our goal year in and year out. We want to be the conference champs. And here's an opportunity for step number 1. We are on the road to a hostile environment, to a team that's 7-0 in their last 7 games. They ended the season last year on a 4-game winning streak, and certainly, like you mentioned, are off to a 3-0 start. They're senior loaded. They've been preparing for this moment in this year for many years to come. We have the target on our back, and there's no doubt that they're going to give us their best game that they've had all season. They want this game. They want to knock off the 2-time defending champs. And so, again, our kids know what they're up for or what they're up against, but at the end of the day, I think that just makes them grit their teeth even more. We have a gritty group of kids that's tough, hard-nosed, that, again, when you give them a challenge like this, it just ramps them up at their energy level, their excitement, their preparation for during the week, even more so. And I was excited to see that out of our kids this week, in the good week of practice that we had. So there's no doubt that our game plan, is solid, and we're ready to go as far as that's concerned. Again, we're going to have to get off the bus and make sure that we execute everything that we've been taught to do. And if we can do that, again, it could be a 4-quarter war. They're a very good ball club, but I like our chances for sure.
So last week, Dan talked about the defense a little bit, about people, players that don't get the mention every play, every snap, that kind of thing. So we hear a lot on offense, and we call the names, right? Dyer, Johnson, etc. Who are 2 or 3 that are out there on offense, maybe they're even on scouting, that help get these guys get into a position where they can succeed?
Man, it's going to be hard to limit it to 2 or 3, but
It was 5. It's your show.
no, yeah, I mean, again, we have so many kids that contribute in so many different ways, right? Again, whether it's our scout team kids, led by Braden Lamb, and obviously Ryan Pruitt running the show there, Wade Manuel kind of getting beat on it, each and every day by our starting defense. I mean, I just can't say enough great things about the look that those kids give us week in and week out, preparing our defense for what they're going to see on Friday nights. And then as far as our actual, starters or kids that play, some names that maybe we don't hear enough. Let's start with Gavin Hammerschmidt. Again, he doesn't have the touchdowns that maybe Trey or Ray or Braden have, but he always consistently does his job, whether it's blocking on the edge, whether it's catching the ball over the middle. He had one of the best catches I've seen so far this year, let alone maybe in the last couple, with that big pickup that we had there on 3rd down that Luke hit him on the seam route last week to at Q&D. I think it was even the This Week in Bulldog Athletics play of the day or play of the week. It was an incredible catch, adjustment in the air. Again, like he's a first-time starter as a junior, and he's contributing exactly the way we need him to. When his number is called, he's getting the job done. When it's not, he's making sure, like I said, that he's blocking on the edge or doing what he's supposed to. So very proud of Gavin's season so far through these 3 weeks. We talked a little bit about, Cade Ashby and what he's been able to do for us. Luke went down, and again, for a sophomore to step up and produce the rushing yards that he did, the way that he did, in the second half there at Q&D. Just incredibly proud of him and the maturity that he's gotten or had through over the course of this season so far. Channing Byers stepped up for us last week, came in off the bench and essentially took over Cade's H-back role when Cade had to move to the running back spot. So very proud of Channing. And again, Channing, is a junior and has kind of worked this entire summer for this moment and this opportunity. The kid has wanted to be on the field. He finally got his shot and gave us great effort and did his job ultimately. So very proud of him. And then let's talk about the 3 sophomores on the O-line. Again, it is not easy to play in our system, let alone make the jump from freshman year to senior year or freshman year to varsity football. And that's exactly what these 3 kids on the offensive line have had to do. Oliver Smith at left guard and then the Bash brothers on the right side with Noah Daniels at right guard and then his brother Philip Daniels at right tackle. Those kids have just continued to progress week in and week out, and I couldn't be more proud of them. And again, the growth that they've made up to this point in the season, I can't wait to see where they continue to go. Coach Seavers is doing a great job with those guys. But again, to be a sophomore and to play the meaningful varsity minutes and to be able to accomplish what they've done, up to this point has just absolutely been incredible. I'm going to give a shout out to all 5 of them right now because they're just about to get named the News Gazette U of I ROTC Offensive Line of the Week. So again, just an incredible credit to those guys, and again, what Coach Seavers has done with them. But to have 3 sophomores and 2 juniors on that offensive line, and them get awarded with the Army ROTC offensive line group of the week. I mean, it's absolutely incredible, and I'm so proud of those guys, and can't wait to see where they continue to go.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the offensive line. I mean, it's you can have the best quarterback and the best running back in the entire conference, but if they don't have good blockers up front, it doesn't mean anything. Mm-hmm. So, walking through the halls coming in here today, it kind of made me think about high school a little bit, right? You're going back to your hometown to coach, but you're also in the unique position to be coaching against your former coach when you were in high school. Is that right?
That's
and
correct.
What does that mean to you?
Yeah, There's no question that being on Trojan Hill on Friday night is absolutely going to bring back some memories of when I used to wear the red and gold and the number 17, and those were awesome times, right? I loved every second about playing football. Again, I probably wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the experiences that I had in high school, and then certainly going on to get my coaching start under Brian Halsey, my former head coach, who now is back there at the head coach at Charleston. And again, I'm extremely grateful for all of those memories and those opportunities that I got. But man, I bleed orange and blue now, and I'm a Bulldog through and through. My wife and kids are as well. We're, again, extremely grateful to be here in this spot where I've always wanted to be since I was a junior in high school. So again, maybe a little sentimental moment for me personally, but at the end of the day, I'm more excited for these kids and the opportunity that they have to start conference playoff. Again, defending their title on the road, it kind of makes it even more special, right? When you can go on the road to a hostile environment and get the job done, it's pretty special. So I'm excited for them. I'm excited for that opportunity. At the end of the day, there's going to be some handshakes and happy to see some of the people across the way, assistant coaches that I've had or that I've even played with are on the staff now. So it'll be nice to see those guys, but at the end of the day, we're there for a football game, and we're there for these 74 kids that we got on our varsity roster, and I want success for them. I'm going to coach my tail off so that they earn and deserve that success that hopefully they get Friday night. So to me, that's what it's about. It's about these kids in this game. It's not about me. It's not about the coach across the way. It's not about anything else other than the Bulldogs getting a victory on Friday night. Well,
Glad to hear you say that you bleed orange and blue, because had you said anything else, I think week 4 would have been our last Coach Adkins show. That's a wrap for this week. Tune in Friday night to watch the Bulldogs take on Charleston.